Today's segment of Woman to Woman will be short and sweet, as it allows some of the women in our community to share an encouraging word with you. We are sisters and we need one another. Be encouraged. Well, welcome to Woman to Woman. This is yours truly, Lady Christine, and it is such an honor to be in your presence one more time. I hope that wherever you are, in whatever part of the world, that you are enjoying your day. We are the master of our fate, and we are the ones who decide what will happen and how we're going to handle it. We each come against storms. We each will deal with things that we're not expected to deal with, but no matter what they are, we can overcome them. So with that, we're going to tell you about our series that we're opening up. This series is called the Survivor Series, and we have some women that are going to be joining us throughout this series, sharing their stories of survival. So today we have a special guest with us in the studio. Her name is Glenda Fitzpatrick. Today we're going to share with you her journey and how she has survived. She has a journey of faith, resilience, and empowerment. She was born in Havre de Grace, Maryland. She is a woman defined by her faith, her resilience, and her strong sense of purpose. And at the age of 55 years old, Glenda has been married for 28 years and is a proud mother of 2 children. Her daughter, age 23, is preparing to graduate with her master's degree in athletic training, while her son earned a bachelor's of science in fine arts and continues to thrive with his journey. Glenda recently had a 2-year battle with cancer, and she is sharing her story and shows how she has decided to empower women through her journey to build a platform where women that are surviving and dealing with cancer will understand self-love, independence, self-awareness, and recognizing one's own value. And she believes strongly in these things. So today we're going to be interviewing Glenda and allowing her to share her story with you. I ask that you would welcome her as she joins us on the stage. Good morning or good afternoon, whichever time it is.
Good afternoon. How are you?
Welcome, Glenda. I'm doing good. We're so glad to have you with us today on the Power of God Broadcasting TV Network's Woman to Woman. We thank you for joining us and taking time out of your busy day. And we're going to do our best to allow you to share your story. So the first thing I want to do is ask you if you would. We've already shared a little bit about your survival of breast cancer and that you are a mother of 2, married. Tell us a little bit about what you do professionally.
So professionally, I am an executive assistant. I have been working in that field for over 25 years. I currently work at a company called GS1 for the last 6 years. And this company is the global language of business.
Well, wonderful. It sounds exciting. I was getting ready to say, so that's why I see you all over the world traveling. Your business, your job allows you to do that, which is wonderful. It's wonderful to be able to get out of, our normal habitat and get away. So I know it's exciting, learning new things. And you said wearing many hats. That's something that we as women do anyway. We wear many hats. So it's awesome to see what God is doing for you and the things that have happened in your life as you've grown. Because I've known you for a long time, and I'm like, look at this woman right now. Yes. So it's awesome to see what God is doing for you, my sister.
Yes.
So we're going to go ahead. We want to talk to our listeners about your journey. And as we shared, you have recently had a battle with cancer. And we know that there are many people who have gone through this, but not the same way. Can you share with us your journey and when you were first diagnosed, what that moment felt like to you?
So for me, my journey actually started, I had, like most women, we have our regular checkups once a year. In 2021, actually, I started having 2 checkups per year. And my last checkup that was considered normal was in October of 2022. And they had then at that point said, we'll see you in a year, traditional, right? Well, not so much for me. Here we are 9 months later in July of 2023. I just felt something that, and it's not the traditional, when I grew up in school, they give you this little silicone pouch, right? And they say, if you feel this knot, then that's alarming. Well, not my case. And I just felt uncomfortable. I had some soreness that was beyond the soreness that sometimes we get when we're cycling. And so long story short, my doctor at the time, he is the best, because every time I went to him, he said, let's go see.
That's right.
You never know. Let's go see. So I went, and come to find out, they said, oh, your pictures are not like 9 months ago. And so okay. So we went through the things, and I think in August 9th, I had to have a biopsy done so they could see what was going on. And still then they were like, well, we don't know. We'll keep looking. And then here we find, on the 16th, not many days later, that yes, indeed, I had a mass on my left breast. And it turned out that I was diagnosed with invasive lobular carcinoma. And that type of cancer, it's a common breast cancer. However, it's one cancer that is in the milk ducts. That's what the lobular portion means. It's in your milk ducts. And I was blessed because this type of cancer does not show up until stage 4.
Wow. Gosh.
And so I was pegged at stage 2. With me not being comfortable with what I was feeling. There was no, I think the only sign that I could say that I had was, a slight curvage in the breast. Women, we do these crazy things. We're in the mirror and we're looking like this.
Yeah.
Is this right? Is that right? Yeah. So, it's those types of things. It's not always the traditional signs that will bring us to, want to know what's going on. But I'll never forget that day, when they, going through and taking the test, and you're thinking, okay, this is par for the course. Okay, we're going to be good or whatever. And then when you're actually told it's something different.
Yeah.
It's definitely something different.
So it was, as you said, it wasn't not the normal things that they might tell you. So definitely one thing that I see that was positive was the fact that you were paying attention to your own body.
Yes.
A lot of times things happen, and we as women, with all the things that we have to do, all the many hats that we wear, we put ourselves on the back burner. So it was good that you were paying attention to something that didn't seem right, know, and that your doctor, hats off to the doctor who did not, think that it was silly for you to check it out, and just go by what he saw before. So I'm grateful for one. That is a miracle blessing from God in itself, that you were able to determine and find out what was going on, early. So paying attention to your body, that's awesome. I think that is so important. So you said that, it's one thing to know about it or hear about it, but then when you were told, what was the first thing that crossed your mind?
To be honest, the doctor was trying to call me. Now, the doctor who was trying to call me was my gynecologist, because we go every year, and breast examination here is a part of your visit, your gynecology visit. And so they sent the results to him, and he was trying to contact me between the 9th and the 16th. He'd been trying to get a hold of me, but I've been working, was busy. So I was here working. And he kept leaving these voicemails, and he was just like, I don't want to do this. And I could hear the urgency in his voice. So I called him, and I'm here I just heard the words, and I literally had to just get my purse and run out, because I kind of felt like I was in a wind tunnel at that moment. The emotions built up so much. I left here. I found myself sitting in the parking lot of a Panera Bread, not too far here from the job. And my first thing was like, I don't know. I tried to call my pastor. I don't know why he was first, but he was first, and he wasn't available. He was out doing ministry, and his wife, so my pastor here is Bishop Reuben. So his wife, Lady Reuben, answered the phone, soon as I heard her voice, I literally just lost it. I could not speak. It was almost like I was being choked from the inside out. So, needless to say, I was very emotional about what I heard. And I think I was just building myself up not to hear those things. And
Right.
so, I don't know if someone would say that's not realistic to do, but I think we always, and us as Christians and us as believers,
Right.
always want to think positivity,
Positive.
right?
Right.
And so, when you hear it, everything you just stifled. So it was very shocking for me. I didn't know what to do, but I just, and Sister Ruth was like, well, can you leave? I was like, I can't go nowhere. I got to go back to work. So I literally had 15 minutes to get my life together.
Right.
To come back to work. So then I had to suppress all of these things to come back to work. And mind you, this is like 1:00 in the afternoon. And I worked until like 4. So I had to quickly get myself together and come back here and then, put the mask on like there was absolutely nothing wrong with me.
Right.
And like you said, and this is where the resiliency comes in as women. We learn how to adapt immediately.
Right.
I think is how God made us.
We have that moment of humanness, the human moment where we're like, you just want to like lose it, and sometimes we do have to release it. We have to release it. But then there's that part spiritually that kicks in and says, okay, this is here. God can do anything. All these scriptures and things that we know, right?
Yeah.
They just come up, and you start trying to push your way through it. So, so I can only imagine. I've had recent experience. I won't even go in that. No, that's not about me today. But, but I know how that is, when you hear things and it's like, okay, I wasn't looking to hear this. Okay, how do I deal with this? So you hear that this is the diagnosis. What changed? What would you say changed immediately after you heard the diagnosis?
I think when I heard it, it was like, okay, next steps. Like, what are we doing? Like, it was, you hear it, and then it was like this full speed ahead situation. So the doctor's like, you need to see this person, you need to see this, and it's just like, like what? So it's like, okay, you're told this information. I know nothing about, lobular cancer. So I'm like looking it up and I find out, where it is and all these things and whatever. So one thing I will encourage, and I know this is towards the end, but it's just say like, we have to watch what we read. But anyway, we go down, we go to, he refers me to a breast surgeon. I get an appointment with a breast surgeon within a week. Mind you, in September that year, I had a girls trip to go to Aruba.
Oh God.
Anyway, we go see the breast surgeon and, I have a meeting with him and we're explaining all the things and what's going on. And he's like, the other thing is, some of y'all who may not know about me, all this was on my left side. So I was born with shoulder dystocia, which means you have the inability to raise your arm straight up like a normal birth. So just keep that in mind. I have limited range of motion on my left side. That's why I was like, God, you're so hilarious. Out of all the sides that happen, it's on this side. And it was just for a greater glory for him. So I go to the doctor, I'm talking to him, and then, I'm getting all these things. They want blood, they want this, they want that. And the one thing the doctor told me, the first breast surgeon, is that he's like, how in the world? This is how I found out that it was rare. He said, how in the world did you find this? Like, this is not discoverable because the cells have not had time to develop. They have not had time to grow like a normal cancer grows, even though cancer in the milk ducts is common, but it just depends on the type. And so he's like, this, like, it was crazy. I said, listen, I don't know. I said, the front felt like kind of like walnut. If you know what the shape of a walnut is, kind of felt like that. But I have had that feeling for 2 years prior. But they kept telling me,
everything's okay.
Everything is fine. Your breasts are very dense. And I'm one of those ones when I would get mammogram done, I will always peek to the right to look at the screen to see what's going on. And I've always seen this white cloudy mass, but they're like, your breasts are dense or whatever. So I just, okay. But learn to be more inquisitive also.
Right.
So we go through all these things. He couldn't figure it out. He was struggling to find, look under my arm because they wanted to find out about lymph node transfer. Now I had a knot under my left arm. And so then it comes into that. So you go from a mammogram to a breast biopsy to now a biopsy under your arm for your lymph node to find out. Not only is it in your breast, it has traveled. It has traveled to your lymph nodes. And that right there is like, oh God. Yeah. So when you hear that, you're like, oh my God. And I'm just like, okay. Like, okay, so what does this mean? And then it was like the doctor, he was okay in the beginning. I will say that he was a very old school doctor. Sometimes old school doctors is what you want, and sometimes it's not what you want.
Right.
He was very good in his description. He drew diagrams. The only fault I would say is that they should not give you, the patient, an option. And what I mean by this is because of what my picture looked like, it was like, you could do this or you could do that. The decision is up to you whether you do A or whether you do B. And in my brain, you have the PhD, not me.
Right.
I need you to tell me what's the best case. If I was your daughter, and this is what I told her, if I was your daughter, what would you prescribe for her to do?
Right.
Of course. Oh, I can't answer that.
Right.
So yeah, it was just that I need to find out what to do, what's next, because I'm a planner.
Right.
I am a planner.
Same here.
So we need to get a plan together. We need to figure out what we're going to do and let's go with it.
Right.
So I was during the first 3 months, I was challenged in that area because I like structure.
Right.
Yeah. But the good thing about this was through the blood work, they found out that I was ER positive, PR positive, and HER2 negative, which means my estrogen, which is the ER, progesterone, which is the PR, and the HER negative, it talks about what feeds this type of cancer. So this was an estrogen-fed cancer.
Wow.
And the fact that it was HER2 negative, that was like the best scenario for me. If everything was positive across the board, then it would be something different.
Right.
But when your cancer is estrogen fed, and that's all we are, they got to figure out a way to stop it. So you get thrown in menopause, right? Because the menopause, all that stuff feeds it. So you can't imagine. At that time, at 53, I'm like, oh my goodness, like you what? I was waiting for menopause. I didn't want to get in menopause.
Not this way though.
But you kind of go with the flow. And I think after some time, and this is where we have to be advocates for ourselves, right? So we're talking to doctors. We're not getting the answers that I need. I'm getting frustrated. Time is going on. He tells me, take your trip. Go to Aruba. Enjoy yourself. In the meantime, I had to also have an MRI scan. So they had to see about size and where it is and if it was further everywhere. Now, I took this MRI, the breast MRI, a week before I went to Aruba. And I told myself, I'm not going to check the portal on.
Yes.
And what did I do? On the beach. Took my phone and I'm like, let's see. And it was probably the worst thing I could have done. But however, it changed my trajectory in that this is such a cliche-ish term that we have one life to live.
Right.
So sitting on the beach in Aruba, and I saw these results of this MRI. I said, you know what? Glenda, you got one life to live. You better live it and live it good.
That's right.
So what do? I get up and go jet ski.
Oh, no. Hey,
no, you know, wanted to go.
Let your hair blow.
At this point, I'm like, And honestly, you be serious. Like, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do this again. I don't know if I'm get back here. I don't know. Like, I'm doing it. Like, I don't
Yes.
care. I had to get the guy to drive the jet ski because I wasn't trying to drive it.
Right.
They don't do that, but he did it for me, and it was like the best thing ever. But I just decided at that point, like, I'm not holding myself back from anything. As long as I'm not harming anyone or anybody,
Right.
and if what I want to do is okay, I'm gonna do it. And it's, sometimes we should have this thought even when we don't get these types of situations, but the reality is it wakes up something in your brain. You do become a different person. Your thought change.
Right.
But yeah, it's, I keep telling my friends, like, I'm gonna write a little mini something or other at some point.
And you should, because we don't go through these things for no reason. We go through these things to help somebody. And it could be through a book, it could be through this interview, it could be through all kinds of ways that your story is going to help somebody. Right. So I encourage you, whatever God leads you doing, go ahead and do it. Because we don't know. I mean, we don't know how much time we have here. You're in a business that you work that allows you to see things and how you said how all of the technology and things can help us to do certain things. Take advantage of it. Do whatever you feel is going to make the best, out of the life you have, the one life that you have, and what you can leave back here for somebody else. So when we look at some of the things, I know when we talked, you were saying, I don't know, I'm going to be nervous. I said, no, you're going to be fine. Because, when you really just start to share, things, they just start to come out. Because the story, you're not by yourself. You're not the only person that's going through this story. You're not the only person that will. And, your story is helping somebody else. I know it's helping me. I haven't been through that, but I try to encourage everybody. And again, now I'm learning more what I need to continue to do and watch out for myself. Because some of us don't go to the doctors like we need to. Or if we see things, we don't pay attention to them. So we're learning a lot, ladies. We're learning a lot today. So the moment that you felt like giving up, you mentioned one of the things that helped you to push through was the fact that you realized you only have one life to live. What else beyond that? Was it, you mentioned that you talked to your pastor. Was it your faith? What other, your faith or personal things that helped you to get to some of those harder days that you had going through this?
I think the thing is, you mentioned earlier, like, I don't know if I really had the give up spirit or I was going to die. I never had those types of things. I just wanted to get it fixed.
Right.
I just wanted to get it fixed. So what happened was, within talking to some people, and I, in the beginning, was very private, as you know. I was very private. Because this is how I chose to deal with it. Right. And I think we have to be careful. And I understand that your family, your loved ones, they care for you. But what people need to understand is that when you go through anything in your life that's tragic and life-changing, you have to allow the person to A, breathe. Right. B, let them decide when they will talk. Right. They will talk. And how they decide to do it. So I decided, for me and my mental, the thing that I could control was how I got the information out. Right. So I chose to only tell my mother, my father, my brother, my husband, of course, knew, and my children. That was it. Right. That's all I wanted. I didn't tell my mother-in-law. I didn't tell all that extension. Right. No. That's all I could handle. Right. Right. So I get it. Everybody wants to pray for you. I get it. Yes, y'all can pray for me. I can do whatever. Right. And then it was like people wanted within that small circle. Of course, my pastor knew. Then they're like, "Oh, you should talk to such and such. They went through this. You should talk to such and such." That I didn't want to do any of that. Right. I'm not discounting the fact, and this person went through breast cancer. Right. I don't know what type they had. All they hear is breast cancer, right? I don't want to do that. Right. I'm still trying to process Glenda. Yourself.
That's right.
I want to talk to. And it took me, I think maybe before I had the surgery, I decided to do that. I said, let me talk to somebody. But I chose who I was going to
Right.
talk to.
That's right.
I didn't feel like it helped me in any way. Personally, I just did not.
Right.
So I think when you create these boundaries of what you want to do and people don't want to respect your boundaries, it kind of causes you to want to
back up,
navigate a little differently. Right. And honestly, Christine, like, I did not feel real open to talk about this until about 6 to 8 months ago.
Okay.
And that's when I started putting little glimpses on social media.
Right.
Then I found out, a very good friend of mine that I used to work with, we were going through the same thing at the same time in a matter of like a month apart. But everybody's different. Like her journey was on social media the whole time. I could not do that.
Right.
So I think the thing is, like, when you're diagnosed with whatever it is, it could be like cancer, depression. I don't care what it is.
Right.
People have to give you space because the reality is the individual is already going through so much mentally. There's no history in my family of breast cancer. So where did this come from?
Right.
We don't know. B, you're like, okay, when I told my select few people, I said, listen, have your moment, but the next time you see me, positivity. That was my thing.
Right.
Positivity.
Right.
Nobody was allowed to be around me sulking and like, oh my goodness. Right. I did not allow any of that. It was all laughs. It was positivity. It was whatever. We're not patting Glenda on the back. We're not. Right. If you need to have a moment, go somewhere else, not in my presence, and have
right. That's right.
I made a choice that everything around me was going to be positive. Even when I went to the doctor, I went smiling. I went saying I was the best patient you're ever going to have. I decided mentally, this is what I'm going to do, not knowing what the outcome was going to be.
Right.
And this is the other thing. When you don't feel like you're getting answers, it's time to move. And I think the first surgeon I had in 3 months, I didn't feel like I was getting what I needed. And in my brain, and when I was getting blood work done and I was kind of feeling the vibe of some of the people, they're like, yo, you need to get this taken care of.
Right.
So I was transferred from Dr. A to Dr. B in November. So from August to November, early November. As soon as I got into the care of Memorial Sloan Kettering, the doctor that I had right away, she said, I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to put you in the best hands. And that is it.
That's it.
She did just that. It was a godsend. And she understood my psyche to be,
right.
We have a plan. This is what we're going to do, and right away it was like, I saw her November 9th. Surgery was scheduled for December 5th.
All right. That was good.
But, through testing, we found out other things was acting up, and thank God those things did not happen.
Yeah.
And, you find out, I think it hit me worse when I found out I had to have a mastectomy versus a lumpectomy. Lumpectomy, they go in and take a little piece out and that's it. A little bit. But when I found out I had to have a mastectomy because the length of this cancer was 8.5 centimeters to my chest wall, I cried in her office. Oh. And then after the first doctor told me, you may not need chemo, you only need this. And then to find out I need the most extensive form of chemotherapy and radiation.
Yeah, it's a big change.
Things change.
Yeah.
Again, my perspective changed again. So now, as a woman, we pride ourselves in what we look like. Right. So now you're telling me you're altering my body.
Right.
I still have to feel value as a woman.
Yes.
There's a lot of things that goes along with it. But I think being in control of your care and what you want to find out and keeping the process moving will be important. Because I wasn't one, and I can confess, I wasn't one that every month I was raising my arm and checking the breast. No, I wasn't doing that. I half did it, but I knew my body.
Right.
However, you need to know your body, what it feels, do it.
Right.
And
don't ignore it.
Don't ignore it. If your doctor says, I don't think it's anything. Okay, well, who's paying for
I
this?
do. I need a second opinion. Is what I need.
Take a
Mm-hmm.
second opinion, and it's okay to
Mm-hmm.
get one. It's okay to
Mm-hmm.
get one. So,
Mm-hmm.
I would just encourage women to have the value in yourself that you think that you don't believe that you have, because we are stronger than we know. And when we go through these things, we actually find out how strong we
How
are.
strong? Yes.
We find out how, resilient we are. I listened to an affirmation, it was called I am. It wasn't certain scriptures. It wasn't, everybody want to throw scriptures at you and read this,
Right.
read these scriptures. And I'm not denoting any of that.
Mm-hmm.
All I'm saying is allow God to speak to you and how he wants to get you through your journey.
Yes.
All of the things that people can give you, all the books that you can read is fine.
Mm-hmm.
But I think in this moment, it becomes allowing God to lead you, allowing God to speak to you in these moments when nobody else can. Because what if the healing scriptures they're giving you is not what he wants you to read? What if he wants to give you a different set? Mm-hmm. So I had an affirmation that I played every day, every morning. I am.
All right.
I am a child of God. I am wonderful. It's all the things. And I repeated it, and I read the scriptures to it. And it just gave me a sense of, I am this person. I am who God created me to be. This little thing called cancer, it's not going to get me.
Not going to beat you.
Not going to beat me. So that's why I chose positivity. I chose to smile. I chose, when I was in chemotherapy, I said, this is the best room to have chemo in.
Yeah.
We're going to have a party in here. And, the one thing I want to share, here's how God also worked through me. And I know we only have a certain amount of time.
That's all right.
Being as though that I have the birth defect that I have, and that the cancer was on my left side of the body. Mm-hmm. The lymph nodes under my arm, couldn't raise my arm. I didn't know how the doctor was going to get it. I said, put my arm in what they say, traction or whatever.
Sling.
Get in there.
Mm-hmm.
She was able to remove 9 lymph nodes because that's all she could get in there to get. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, so in that regard, everything becomes off limits. You can't take blood from this arm. You can't take blood pressure from this arm. You can't do any of that. So I have one good arm, one good one.
Is that your writing hand too?
My writing hand is my dominant hand, because my left, I can't do all that.
Yeah.
I try to do some things just
for the sake. Mm-hmm.
People were like, maybe you should get a port. I'm not getting a port.
You're right.
Because my mind said, I don't need a port.
That's right.
I had this one good arm, and I said, the Lord is going to hold up this arm through all the blood and all the treatment and everything. Yeah. And I'm telling you, when every little vein, and you could never tell anytime I got pricked, I didn't have bruising. I think it was 1 or 2 times, but out of all, I had 4 months of chemotherapy, and they had to put that in my arm.
Wow.
The doxorubicin, what they call the red devil, right? Mm-hmm. That's a manual push. The nurse had to sit there and push this in and out of my vein. In and out. Meanwhile, you got another one over here with the drip of whatever. Mm-hmm. And then they're getting blood from you every time you go. But God sustained this arm. He answered my prayer.
Yes.
I did not have to have a port. God was my port every time I went. I think I had one time where a vein exploded, and that was after the fact. Way after. God will give you exactly what you want. Mm-hmm. And what I learned is, don't be so quick, depending on your situation, right?
Right.
Don't be so quick to do what other people want you to do. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Keep your individualness. Yes. Keep the mind that you have it on your own. Mm-hmm. And you decide when you want to make a change or be different. But I just purposed in my mind what I wanted, and I stuck to it. Mm-hmm. There are going to be so many people not going to like what you decide and what you do, because the thing that they have to remember is it's not them.
That's right.
They're not going through it.
That's right.
You can read all you want. You can say all you want. And I'm not saying God don't give people divine revelations, but when you are in the thick of it,
it's a difference. It's a difference. Mm-hmm.
So respect the person who you're helping or who you praying for.
Yes.
I'm not saying I had all the answers, but I had a determination in my brain.
Right.
I wanted to do, how I wanted to do this journey. And eventually in my own time, I will tell you, I will share with you.
Right.
I'll tell you whatever you want. Now I'll tell you whatever you need to know.
Right.
But again, I'm like, everybody's journey is different. And I think when I was talking to my friend who I found out, and her and I had connected, we used to work together years ago. And it's just amazing how our journeys are the same but different.
Yes.
And the pain, and I tell people, and it's just a reality, I am in pain every day of my life, right? But here's the thing, I choose not to think about the pain.
That's right.
I choose not to let the pain keep me down.
Mm-hmm.
If I have something new, if I have something uncomfortable, it's like, okay, it'll, this too will pass.
Right. This will pass.
And my body, even the strongest drugs, that oxycodone they were giving me, so that stuff did not work for me. It just didn't. It's scary because my body has a high tolerance
for pain,
to pain and to drugs because it didn't faze me. And it was a time where I wanted to take those things so I could go to sleep because I'm laying at night looking at the ceiling like this, like, when am I going to go to sleep? When am I going to go to sleep?
Right.
But I'm not going to lie. I had my moments. I had moments where I thought that I was being a burden. My husband, my son, my daughter was in school, so she wasn't able to be here. So a lot of this responsibility fell on my husband and my son. They had a plan. They worked together. They were amazing. I had tools.
Family. Yes.
They worked together. But, we as women who used to doing, you're like, oh my God.
Yes.
There's a lot of humility that comes along with sickness. And it's some things that people don't talk about. And it's like, and you're like, oh my gosh. Then you very quickly like, nope, I can do it. I can do it. But this journey has taught me a few things. And I will say this because there's so much I could say. The journey taught me that God made me to be the strongest person that I ever thought I was going to be, or ever thought I was. It taught me that having him in my life and leaning on him and his word is better than any drug or any type of anything that we could take.
Yes.
And to treat my life as if you only get one, right? So we can't help nobody. And we say it in ministry all the time, right? If we're not well spiritually, how can we help somebody? Well, it's not just spiritually. You have to be well physically, mentally. It's a whole package.
Whole thing.
Because you asked about physical and emotionally, but the mental piece is also important. Physical, mental, spiritually, and emotional. Those are 4 things that have to be in alignment for us to be an effective missionary for God. If we're physically not in shape, nobody says you got to be able to run a marathon.
Right.
But you got to be able to walk. You got to be able to sit there. You got to be able to move. If we're physically strapped, I'm not saying God can't use if he can't walk, but just physically, mentally. The mental is a big piece. Spiritually is also a big piece, and emotionally. All these things tied together. But we have to learn, and as women, we're emotional creatures anyway.
Anyway, yes. Yes.
So we have to learn how to put all these things into subjection. But I just found out that I was going to move different. I was going to think different. And everything that I did and I thought about was going to be for his glory, whether I was understood or not. I was very misunderstood in the last 4 years, but then in the last 2 years, I'm like, you know what?
I can't worry about it. I got to do what I got to do.
I got to do what I got to do.
Yes.
But, I would just say, I think your mental state, always be positive. If you cannot get to the state where you can't be positive, and I was there, I'm going to tell you, I wasn't perfect. But you find the little things where it quickly draws you back into your positive state. This is not always. I told the oncologist I wasn't going to lose my hair. I was just so adamant about it.
Right.
I'm not going to lose my hair. She said, "Oh, honey." That's what she said. "Oh, honey."
You sound like your mom.
Oh, honey. So much so I had to go to my oncologist, and I was just like, I did end up losing all of my hair. And I, people were like, shave it off. Do this. Nope, not shaving it off. It's so much so I went home, Leah, we went in the back, and I said, just cut the strands. Because I tell people, I laugh about it. I'm serious. I said, you know how Linus looked with the strands of hair?
Oh.
With that blanket? Yeah. I was like, that's what my head looked like. And I went to Leah. I said, just cut the strands off. I said, don't shave me, nothing. Just cut the strands. She just did cut the strands. She took me in the back, cut the strands. That's it. But I was just so adamant. I was just like, well, I'm not going to lose whatever I did. But here's the thing. Here's the other blessing in that. I have so many blessings in this journey. The doctor says your hair doesn't grow back until 6 months after your chemotherapy treatments are over.
Okay.
I finished chemotherapy in June 2024. My scalp started itching in August. I didn't know what was going on. I thought it was a rash, but the sensation, the hair follicles was waking up. It was waking up in August. By December, I had hair already.
Awesome.
So the book may say one thing, but God is the ultimate author.
Yes.
Everything. We can listen to what they say. That's how we know how to go back. Say, God, now it's your turn.
That's right.
We want to believe his report. That's right. We get the report from the doctor, but then we need to go to the ultimate.
Go right to him with it. Go to him with it, and he has
to be okay. And be okay. So I don't regret anything. I don't regret nothing that I've gone through. I don't, all the minimal stuff that I deal with. I just was like, wow, this is just par for the course. It just goes to tell me that God has more for me to do.
That's right.
And I'm still trying to figure out what that is, but he spared my life. I mean, what if I didn't find this issue? What if it didn't show up until stage 4, like they say? Right.
Well, one of the things that he's allowing you to do is to be able to share your testimony, because this will touch many people. And some of these people we will never meet. And this allows you to travel the world in a whole different manner, and reach individuals that will hear your story. Their story may be a little different, but something that you're saying or has said is going to be what will carry them. They might be having that down moment, and then they realize, it's up to me on how I can see it. I always often say, you can see it as a glass half full or a glass half empty. It's totally up to you. We are the master of our fate. We trust God. We know that he has the end. He already sees the end from the beginning. But how we go through it is totally up to us. And when we're faced with it, we find out who God is. And as you said, who we are.
Amen to that.
Yes, he promises not to put more on us than we can bear. And that's where I know that scripture is true. Because a lot of times, as you said, people look at things and they can see it from one side to another, but you never know until you're actually walking the mile in somebody else's shoes. You don't know what you would do, or how you would handle it. But we know that God is wise, and he only allows if he allows it to come, is because he's there with us in it. And say, okay, God, you said my strength doesn't have to be perfect in this weakness or this weak time for me, just as long as yours is, because your strength is going to be made perfect. So I am just so glad and honored to have you be on our Power of God Woman to Woman show and sharing your story of survival. You have overcome. And we know that no matter what you have to endure from here on, that you will overcome, because God's going to see that you do so. So leave one final word. If you could tell anybody, let's say if this was the last day that you had an opportunity to say something with somebody, what would that be? What would you want to leave them with? If this was your last day, what would you want to leave them with?
If I could leave something with someone, is opportunity. Don't leave opportunity on the table.
Okay.
What I mean by that is we ourselves are the opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Don't leave yourself on the table. Don't count yourself out.
Right.
Believe in the inner strength that you have, no matter what it is,
Mm-hmm.
and just move forward. Move forward with boldness, move forward with assurity, move forward with faith, knowing that God
Mm-hmm.
will bring you out.
Yes.
Don't leave yourself on the table for someone else to shape your destiny.
I agree. So y'all heard that. You heard those words from Glenda today. And we encourage you to do what she says. Do not leave yourself on the table. You are the master of your fate. And that was great words from a very powerful man that spoke that. We are the master of our fate, and we have that decision to make. Yes. I'm going to take this opportunity. I'm going to seize it, and I'm going to make the best of it. And here we are on the other side, full head of hair, just as pretty with and without. You know, when you were going through, we didn't know the whole testimony. I watched and I knew something, but I said, I knew you just like me. I'm a private person. And I said, Lord, whatever it is, you strengthen and bring her through it. And I am so proud and of you and what you have come through. And now you're here to share it with others. And I know everybody, we thank you for joining us today. And I know that those of you that are listening to the story of Glenda has been blessed and are being helped. Share this with somebody else. Let them know that we are survivors. We as women are resilient. Yes. God has made us resilient. We might be the weaker vessel, but we certainly are not weak. We are strong. Yes. We are strong, and God gives us the strength every day. So we hope, like I said, that you all have enjoyed this segment of our Survivor Series. There are more to come. We ask you to reach out to Glenda. She's on Facebook. Maybe something that she said will, cause you to want to reach out and ask her a question. I'm sure she won't mind. Glenda Fitzpatrick, reach out to her, message her, and let her know how her testimony has helped you. And certainly, if you have a question or maybe you're going through a battle right now of some sort and something she said helped you, reach out to her. Thank you for joining us. And we pray that you have a wonderful rest of the day, wherever you are in the part of the world. God bless you all.